this is Bookish Clara, and today we are going to do something that I was really looking forward to, and this is reading my first ever attempt at an actual book. So let's get started. So I got the drink, and I think we can actually start now. And some of you must be wondering, why does this thing have diary written on the cover? And that's because well, in my school, and I think they do this in most schools, but I'm not sure, but in my school they made us write a diary through elementary school. So this is one of my diaries, and I think this was for 4th grade. This says 2017, so it's a diary I had when I was like 10. And why did I start writing a book in my diary? And it's not a personal diary or anything. My homeroom teacher always checked it and left their notes and gave me a little stamp all the time. Why did I write my first book in such a private space? And I think it's because I didn't know that it'd be really kind of embarrassing for someone to see such a raw part of my soul. Also, a really funny thing about why I started writing a book was that I didn't really want to write these diary entries because we had to write one every week, and thinking of a new topic for every week was terrible. I started writing a book here because then I would have something to write about every week. Oh yeah, it was actually 2 entries in a week, so 1 entry I would devote to my book, and 1 entry I would just write about normal stuff like life, friends, philosophy. Actually, I think we'll just have a little flip through before we actually start reading the book. And it's really hilarious because I forgot most of the things I wrote about here, and I thought I would never forget about this stuff when I grew up, but things change. And it's really kind of interesting, like I used to do little comic strips, not very good ones, because I didn't really want to write. And also poems were a thing I really wrote a lot too, because once again I didn't really want to write. And yeah, I was really obsessed with hamsters. Oh yeah, poems again. I don't know why I used to write so much in English back then. Oh yeah, here's my first diary entry about my book, and yeah, my character's name was Lily Clearwater. I didn't really think about it much. I just made it up in the fly while I was drawing this, I guess, poster thingy, and it says "Coming Out Soon" by Clara Song, and it's apparently $12. And I actually wrote Newbery Award, and because all of my children books I read back then was Newbery, at least a lot of them. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good drawing for a 10-year-old. And I think I tried to make this shadow kind of creep up on her because she's not suspecting something's gonna happen. That's how I used to draw eyes back then. So, chapter 1, I am being kidnapped, which is a very dramatic way to start. And I'm not sure if I can read this without laughing, but let's give it a try. It started like a normal day. I woke up at 7:30, then I got ready for school and went to school. Like any other day, I sat at the lunch table alone. Yeah, I spelled yeah wrong, but yeah, I know it sounds depressing, but I don't mind that I don't have friends, though my mom is worried that I might be lonely. And started to eat my fruit salad when 4 people came into the cafeteria. 2 of them was wearing jeans and t-shirts. The design was identical. Even the color was same, red. The other 2 people were women. At least I thought they were women because they were wearing skirts. The women were wearing identical outfits too. Jeans, t-shirts, and skirts. But the color was different. One was black and the other one was a rainbow color. While I was trying to figure out why everyone was not staring at them and who were they, the one wearing black, picked me up and easily carried me out of the cafeteria. I kicked and screamed, but no one seemed to notice. I thought of my mom and dad, and a tear trickled down my cheek. I think that's actually a pretty good attempt to write an, expression for a 10-year-old. I was loaded onto, I think there's a T there, onto a car, and I blacked out. Yeah, apparently she fainted. And just like that, I was kidnapped. I missed the A. But anyway, I actually think it's pretty good for like my first attempt, and it's really dramatic, and I like it. So I started writing this when around, it's not actually May. I think I just wrote May when I was supposed to write June. And so yeah, chapter 2. How can I escape? I don't really write down names for my chapters right now, but I forgot I used to. When I regained consciousness, the first thing I realized was I was starving. The second thing I realized was that the woman ninjas were sitting next to me. And the third thing I realized was that I needed I didn't say on, I said but an escape plan. I heard that a girl was kidnapped, and she escaped by telling her kidnapper that she was thirsty and wanted milk. When her kidnapper was inside the market, she escaped through an open window. No go. I think that's pretty impressive vocabulary for a 10-year-old Korean girl. Yeah, no go. No go. The window doesn't. I think it's don't rule out. But food sounds great. Plan number 1: ask for food before I die of starvation. Not much of a plan, but better than nothing. Can I have some food? I'm starving. They totally ignore me. Well, that's not very nice. But if they were nice people, they wouldn't have kidnapped me in the first place. How can I escape? And there's a question mark and an exclamation mark. Oh yeah, I just covered that up with a sticky note because I'm really embarrassed about the nice comment my homeroom teacher wrote for me. And it's actually where she escaped. I'm looking forward to the next story. I actually remember that this was an actual news story that was out at the time. I didn't know that I actually wrote it into the book, but it's really interesting to see kind of a part of my 10-year-old self in these stories. So it's chapter 2, and just wow. I have been in this car for like 2 hours. I checked the clock in the car. So I was seriously tired, scared, carsick, and starving. I tried to remember all the twists and turns, but I soon lost track. Now we were in a countryside with lovely poplar trees and beautiful elm trees with colorful wildflowers. I had lots of time to enjoy the scenery. Is it the right spelling for scenery? I'm not sure. Then the car slowed down. Then I saw a place, literally. I'm not sure why I thought seeing a place was so amazing, but I apparently did. I don't remember my intention of writing I saw a place. There were 3 gigantic buildings. The one in the middle was biggest. It was made out of snow white marble and decorated by gold and silver. And I could see precious gems like jades, rubies, and amber winking at me in the rosy light of the sunset. I could see a wondrous garden made out of plants that I've never seen. The sweet smell coming from it made me more alert and cheerful. In its right and left was the replica, except that it didn't have gardens and gems in the building. Then a woman came out. She said, "Welcome to Aritya?" I don't know how I came up with that. Aritya Academy? Oh yeah, so from now on you'll see the influence of the books I've been reading at the time, which is in here Rick Riordan. I think that kind of Greek-ish facade of the buildings and the expressions kind of really got a big influence from Rick Riordan, at least it seems to me, and especially this Aritya Academy seems really so much like my idea of Camp Half-Blood. It's kind of ridiculous. Also, that part about the sweet smell coming from it made me more alert and cheerful. Seemed to be kind of like magic powers that I was trying to write in, but I'm not sure about that. So, I mean, basically I say influences, but it was basically plagiarisms. Not very proud of that. Oh yeah. Chapter 4, Gods and Goddesses. I said Percy Jackson, and like I said, basically plagiarism. The woman was wearing a sleeveless dress. She looked older than her aunt. I think I meant my aunt, but younger than my gran. She looked pretty and kind with her soft, kind brown eyes and brown and gray hair scraped into a bun. I relaxed a bit. The woman said, "Please come to my office, Lily." Oh, you can see now for the first time that our main character's name is Lily. Before I could even wonder how she knew my name, a cool breeze swept me off my feet and carried me to the highest window of the building in the middle. And I think we remember from a few chapters before, literally a chapter is half a page, but a few chapters before that, the middle building was the fanciest and therefore maybe the most important. The woman came through the window and sat on a white plush sofa, so I sat down on the sofa opposite to her. "I am Miss Sky," the woman said. Then she said, "Now to the important stuff. Gods and goddesses exist." I really used to have a tendency to the dramatic. Oh, it's been almost a month since I started writing these stories, and I think I'm kind of impressed that I managed to keep on for such a long time. But anyway, yeah. Never used to be really subtle with my plots. Chapter 5, Mom, I thought I misheard her. Miss Sky said, "I know it's hard to believe, but it is true. Your daughter, you are the daughter of Selena, goddess of water, hope, health, and wisdom." Meanwhile, I had my mouth hanging open, so I shut it and tried to look more dignified. "Don't you believe me?" she asked. And my answer was, "No, not really." Forgot to capitalize there, but that would have been rude, so I didn't say anything. Miss Sky sighed and said, "Here, I misspelled here." I do this a lot. "Let me show you." From her pocket, she pulled out a pebble and cupped her hands on it. I think I meant around it. When she pulled away her hand, there was a small white cloud floating there. She looked at, I think I meant me. Why do I keep switching up pronouns? She looked at me, then smiled. "Now dear, go along and meet your mother." Seriously, this is the part when you see the first plot hole. I'm not sure if you remember, but in chapter 1, I said, though my mom is worried that I might be lonely. And I think I meant a normal human mother, not a goddess mother. And I think I kind of got confused or forgot why I was writing this stuff. It's been a month. So once again, Percy Jackson plagiarism alert. Goddess, demigod stuff. And also, I think you've noticed by now, but I'm not really being subtle with my names. Miss Sky obviously has where is it? Yeah. Has wind powers, and her name is Sky, and she can turn pebbles or things into clouds. So I think she's kind of the daughter of the sky god or something. And my main character's name is, I think, Clearwater, and she's a daughter of the goddess of water. And I think this is a really good thing I did. I tried to make these elements associate with each other. Like water is health and hope because water means life. And I'm not sure what wisdom came from. It's just a good thing. Yeah, and chapter 7, my brain might explode. By then, my brain was like, trying to process the things that happened. First, I got kidnapped by some people wearing strange clothes. Second, I arrived at an academy where a lady told me that gods and goddesses exist. Third, the lady told me my mom was alive. The aforementioned mother suddenly does not exist. Even Dad said he didn't know if my mom was alive or not. Every single time I asked him. And I asked him like 72 times, I counted. I was pretty sure a human brain would explode if exposed to all the weirdness that happened to me. But then I got distracted enough to stop wondering about the brain disaster, which was a relief since it wasn't a cheerful subject. This doesn't really have any issues yet. And chapter 8, I'm really starting to hate this day. And I think this is kind of a really, I'm maybe not witty, but really funny title. I wish I still had the ability to write titles like this. But I don't. The floor exploded beneath me. Seriously, past me was really dramatic, had no subtlety. I guess I just liked writing about explosions, reveal secrets. Finally having my fake wine. When I was falling down, I spelled remembered wrong, but I'm not going to mention it. I was falling from the 20th floor, and I would probably be falling to my death. A terrified scream pierced, probably not the right way to write this, pierced the air as I was falling down. I realized I was the one screaming. I think such a cliche kind of line that lots of writers use. Screaming wouldn't help, I thought, and shut my mouth. I was trying to think of a plan when I was snatched up. I found myself on top of a flying
and what's it called? ...
Holy Farah, is this a flying cat? I shouted as we glided along. I don't know where the Holy Farah comment came from, but it just sounded right. And the thing about Farah, she's the Norse goddess of cats, love and stuff, and I think I just
plagiarized or stole that
from Norse mythology, but also not perception. I think it's I'm not sure if I had read Magnus Chase back then, but if I did, I probably stole it from Magnus Chase. The flying cat thing, I think I got that from
the series. I forgot that kind of has titles like Wished or Tricked. Googling it. Oh yeah, the Fairy Tale Reform School series. I think I kind of stopped reading that now, but I used to really enjoy it, and I still think it's a really good book series.
So I think I got that, flying cat thing from the Fairy Tale Reform School series, but I will explain more elements of what I plagiarized later on. I think that the cat being used as a mode of transportation could be inspired from Freya and her cats as well, because Freya used cats to pull her chariot. So yeah, where were we? The girl who rescued me turned and said, "Are you new?" Probably, I answered, and I spelled answered wrong, but probably, it was kind of a good attempt at sarcasm-y unassuredness. I'm Rachel V. Nice to meet you, and yes, we are riding on a flying cat. What's your name? She talked really, really fast, like she was punching me with words. I think that frizzy red hair and green eyes and the name Rachel and that talking fast thing all came from Percy Jackson's Rachel. I'm really sorry, I just plagiarized the character right of the book. I wasn't really even trying except changing her surname. And that punching me with words thing, I think it came from the book. I think the original passage was
I don't remember, the first time Percy met Rachel. Let me check. But anyway, there's this line that described the way she talked, really fast, and I just kind of changed it up a bit.
We were here. My name is Rose Darling Edward, I answered. Another plot tour and I keep spelling answered wrong. Rose Darling Edward. I think we've established that our character's name was Lily Clearwater.
Seriously, you forget your main character's name?
And this Rose Darling Edward thing. Why was I so obsessed with those old-fashioned kind of soft names? Because of Jacqueline Wilson. When I was young, I was obsessed. Not obsessed, but I only read Jacqueline Wilson books, and she had a ton of them. It all had girls as main characters, and it was about families whose mothers were divorced or single moms, generally poor moms, stuff like that. And she, Jacqueline Wilson, always used really old-fashioned kind of soft names. So back in the day, my vocabulary of words were 90% old-fashioned names. My name is Rose Darling Edward, I answered weakly, since this day was pretty overwhelming. To be continued. So finally a chapter that is in a page. I think I'm kind of getting more into writing now since I've run out of a page.
Oh, here's a little story. Thank you everyone for my books when I became class president.
Anyway, chapter 8 continued. I'm sorry, you got caught in an attack just after you came, Rachel said. Does attack often happen? I asked, wondering if I was going mad. About 4 times a year. I will take you somewhere safe. You must be starving and tired, she said. After she said it, I realized how much tired, scared, and hungry I was. I wanted to cry, but I knew that won't seem very courageous, so I held back the tears. We landed on a sheltered part. I keep spelling that R, the part wrong, I'm not sure why. Shelter spot in the corner. A kid with blue eyes and dark brown hair rushed about, tending the wounded. Children of Selena, Rachel explained. Selena is the goddess of water and life. Her children are great at healing, Rachel said. So I think by now you kind of see, if you read Percy Jackson, the references, I keep pulling from it. Plagiarism. The children of Selena are obviously the Apollo kids at Camp Half-Blood, the medics, and when I looked around, I could see that this building was built for war. It wasn't built with soft but beautiful marble. It was built with solid hard rock, though it was coated in a thin layer of gold, silver, and marble. With a shock, I realized I knew that just by touching the wall. What was happening to me? I think I kind of mixed in the children of Hephaestus in there too. I think I didn't even know I was plagiarizing at the time, so sorry. And chapter 9. I really kept up with it. I think it's been like 4 months. I was about to tell Rachel about this weird episode when I heard shouting, and then I saw the most angry and pretty girl I have ever seen coming toward us, waving her hands and shouting to a middle-aged woman with a stern expression. Yeah, and guess who the pretty girl is? I think that's my equivalent to the children of Aphrodite. What do you mean that our backups are unavailable? The pretty girl yelled. When I was further away, I thought she was pretty, but now I could see that she was gobsmackingly beautiful with long golden curls and amazing sky blue eyes. Andrea, I told you that our backup squad was sent to Zitra Prep.
That's my clever way of kind of making a different school using prep, not academy.
They needed them more. Now calm down, please. Spelled calm wrong. The middle-aged woman's voice cut through my thoughts like a knife. K, you need a K in there. Rachel cleared her throat. Spelled throat wrong. Why do you bother pointing this out to you anymore? They finally noticed us. Oh, hello. Are you new? Andrea asked. Andrea, don't be rude. Not sure why that's rude. Oh, I'm really kind of tired from this constant narrating and commentating. Chapter 9 continued. Oh yeah, I wrote to be continued. Said the middle-aged woman. Hello, my name is Vice Principal Flora. And obviously, that gray-haired Miss Sky Lady was the principal, and this is the vice principal, and her name is Flora May. I can suspect that she has plant powers. It's not really that much detective work. Nice to meet you. The middle-aged woman introduced herself. And I'm Andrea Trim. What's your name? The pretty girl asked. I am Rose Darling Edward. Nice to meet you, I said, trying to sound brave and not scared out of my mind, though I'm not sure if I did it well. But then Rachel screamed and interrupted our conversation. Ice! Rachel shouted. Now I know that shouting ice doesn't have the same fear factor as shouting lion or tiger, but this mass of icy destruction was an ice sculpture's nightmare. Pretty good sentence for 10-year-old. It has sharp blades that were sharper than a knife, and it kept spinning around like the world's coldest, deadliest, and most beautiful blender. That's a really good metaphor. I personally think that. Slicing everything in its path. We all screamed except Vice Principal Flora. She raised her wand, which I didn't notice before, and then... And suspense, cliffhanger, I tried them all. Chapter 10, Magic. Not getting any more subtler. A solid wall, spell solid wall of stone rose straight off the ground. Even the sharp ice blender couldn't cut through it. It shattered. But something strange happened as it shattered. The gigantic stone was shrunk, then it turned into ice. Yeah. Suddenly everything went quiet. So quiet that I could hear, the leaves rustling in the beautiful garden. The silence was shattered as Rachel cursed. Thermopolis sucks. Did I get that from Harry Potter? Because they always say stuff like Mullins underpants or something. I think Ron said that, but yeah, that's my equivalent. Sucks. What is that thing? She pointed at the square of ice about the size of a A4. I leaned down and reached out my hand to grab it. Andrea slapped my hand away. It might be cursed, she said. Meanwhile, Miss Flora had sat down on a stool. Conveniently there's a stool. It seemed like the magic drained her. It didn't look like a time for questions, but my curiosity got the better of me. Miss Flora, do you always need a wand to do magic? I asked. No, child. We don't always need a wand to do magic. But a wand can increase your power, Miss Flora answered. Is the wand the only thing that can increase power? I couldn't resist it asking. No, the wand is usually for defense, and the staff is usually for offense. Miss Flora answered me again, then she got out a cliffhanger again. So for those good people who read Rick Riordan's Kane Chronicles, you probably see the reference to wands and staffs as tools for defense and offense to increase their magic, to channel their magic. Plagiarism. Yay!
Obsessed with hamsters.
My teacher really left nice notes. Chapter 10 continued. Long green stick. Oh yeah. Because she got out a long green stick. I was unimpressed. I thought that since the staff was for defense, I think I meant offense, it would look like a weapon. Oh my, I spilled some of my fake wine. Oh my. Just work with sticky hands. But then I studied it closer and realized that it wasn't a normal stick. It had delicate ornate design. It looked like beautiful flowers, trees, and grass were reaching toward the sky. My thoughts were broken as my shadow, solidified and turned into a girl with jet black hair and mischievous sparkling eyes. She managed to gasp out 3 words. That wing need reinforcements. Oh my god, another Percy Jackson plagiarism. This is obviously, the Children of Hades part, Nico D'Angelo, the shadow traveling thing. I was really well read on Rick Riordan back then. I really appreciate his books now, of course, too. Andrea seemed like she wanted to explode again. Then her anger hardened into something else. Leadership. Leadership? I think that's a question mark. Seriously, that her anger hardened into leadership? The thing is so preachy. I think I don't really write, a line like that now. But yeah, I was kind of preachy back then. Rachel, go to the south wing, she commanded. It was now Rachel's turn to explode. You must be kidding me. Going alone is suicide. She has a point, Miss Flora said. Andrea's eyes looked around and fixed on me. Rose, didn't forget her name this time. Rose, go with Rachel to the south wing, Andrea said. So it looks like Andrea's kind of like a boss. Chapter 11. Don't know why I wrote down the time for when I was writing it, but anyway, chapter 11. She must be kidding me. I, Rose Starling Edward, is putting my foot down. I am just a shy normal girl who likes reading, art, and music, not the latest pop song. Okay, call me boring. Call me weird and boring. But seriously, I find classical music like Mozart Beethoven. It's Beethoven actually. Relaxing. But I guess that's out of the point. The point was that Andrea was being crazy. But Rachel was already pulling me towards the flying cat. Oh, why was this happening to me? I'm a good person. I always do my homework on time. I never complained about spinach and broccoli. On the way to the south wing, so much for putting my foot down, grumble. I decided to ask Rachel about her flying cat. Oh my god, when I first read it, I was like, oh no, not Geronimo's Tilton, seriously. So, in case you don't know Geronimo's Tilton, it's like a really famous children's book series about
mice instead of humans. It's like about a kind of another dimension, I guess. It's like a world of mice, and New York City is called New Mouse City, and you're not famous mouse. And Geronimo Stilton is the main character, and he's like the editor of the Woodlands Gazette, and he really, and all the Geronimo Stilton series is wrote from his viewpoint, and he's kind of a really shy, unsure, kind of like timorous character.
oh, why was this happening to me? Is like a line he says really often. I'm a good person. I always do my homework in time. I'm a good, blank blank. I always do blank blank. I never complain about blank blank. That's so his style of narrating. I really have a talent for plagiarism, I think. Maybe I should become a ghostwriter or something. So much for putting my foot down, grumble. She must be kidding me. I, Rose Darling Edward, is putting my foot down. That's kind of like just Geronimo Stilton's line, except he just says, I, Geronimo Stilton, is putting my paws down. Where were we? I decided to ask Rachel about her flying cat. Your flying cat is amazing, I marveled as I stroked its soft and silky white fur. Yeah, I spelled yeah wrong again. She's great. Her name is Snow. Not subtle, white fur, Snow. She can shrink. Did you know that she is at it really casually, like it was nothing? So, I'm not sure if you remember my reference to the fairy what was it again? The Fairy Tale Reform School series, but this is where when the plagiarism gets really strong. It can shrink, I asked, my eyes full of wonder. I really wanted one. Can I have one? I quickly added. You don't choose a pet, the pet chooses you. Rachel answered, her eyes twinkling with humor. Her answer left me even confused me more. What do you mean? I asked. I'm starting to really hate not knowing and asking. Oh, and being answered with riddles. Arg. There's this whole room filled with cages, and all of them each have a magical creature in it. And when a pet chooses you, the creature, aka your new pet, appears in front of you, Rachel explained more clearly. That is awesome. When can I get a pet? I assured. Whenever you want. After this fight is over, I will take you, Rachel promised. My heart sank. I was so interested about magical creatures, and I almost forgot about the fight we were heading to. And this is like this pet choosing you system is straight out of the Fairy Tale Reform series. Just read the books I mentioned, like the Rick Riordan books, the Fairy Tale Reform School series, and Geronimo Stilton series, and Jacqueline Wilson. You really see the influences, and that's all. Obviously, I never really carried on with writing this thing after I finished this diary. And so I'm left wondering what happened in this fight. I don't remember. It's a miracle. I remember I wrote as far as chapter 11. Yes, it's been 5 months, almost half a year. Yeah, it's half a year. It's almost November. I just don't even remember writing to this point. I remember about here, but I didn't really remember chapter 11 at all. So this was really fun for me, like reading my book straight through, seeing my old diary entries, seeing my handwriting. I remembered. I think I was kind of on vacation when I drew this, and yeah, it's something that I didn't remember, like the little elements parts of my life that I mixed in without even knowing it when I was writing this book. So, and I'm not gonna say a bunch of stuff like how I'm embarrassed about it and it's so awful and I kept making spelling mistakes into like 90% plagiarism. And even if that's all true, I think it just I really appreciate how it captured my 10-year self. I now know that I was obsessed with Rick Riordan even then, and I might have a future as a ghostwriter. So thank you for reading my first ever attempt at a book with me, and I hope you have a bookish afternoon. Bye!